Breck and I were shopping. We were at a wholesale club, and there was this gentleman in front of us in line, and he had a thing of cupcakes, and he also had a thing of cake. And Breck turns over to me, and he's like, "He must be having a birthday." And I don't think the guy was having a birthday. I think the guy just eats cupcakes and cake, unfortunately. But I thought that was really funny. Another thing we've been doing is we've been playing a lot of Monopoly. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I just learned that you cannot actually accept money when you get on free parking. Like in the classic rules of Monopoly, if you land on free parking, apparently it's a totally lackluster space. So, like in my house and all the times that I played, if you landed on free parking, all of the money from taxes and like drawing a card from Community Chest and from Chance would go into the middle. So if you had to get assessed for street repairs or you had to pay anything like that, it would go directly into the middle and then along with a $500 bill. So every time somebody would land on free parking, you'd be like ready to build hotels after that. You have a total life-changing experience in the course of the game, right? And then I found out as we've been playing recently that the classic rules of Monopoly, it's just a free space. So the idea is like maybe on all the other ones where you're going to pay rent, this one particularly you don't pay rent, so it's just a place to like hang out. But I'm just curious, am I the only one that had that? I looked it up. It's considered a house rule. So basically, like anytime you've ever played where you weren't following exactly the classic rules of Monopoly, they have this section where it says there's also considered house rules. Like for instance, I was in juvie and they had like these insane rules. Like basically they, as an example, would put all the money into the middle. So every time you bought a property, every time you paid rent, well, no, I guess when you pay rent, you pay it to other people. But point being, if you weren't paying rent and giving it to one of the other players in the game, the money did not go into the bank. It went directly into the middle. And then if you landed on free parking, you won all of that money. So as an example, that would be a house rule. And my inclination was just that it was the rules. Like if you played and you landed on free parking, it was the best space. You got hundreds and hundreds of dollars and you were ready to rock and roll. It could literally change everything. I can't believe I just said ready to rock and roll. I wish I didn't say that. That's dumb. But the idea is that you had a large amount of money immediately. And I know it's so stupid, but I feel like it's something that everybody's probably played. And then I'm just curious if your house at any point in time, or if you do even now, have any house rules that aren't actually a classic rule of Monopoly, but you've implemented based on your background or your childhood or all the people that you've played with. Because I was really, I was disappointed. I mean, it turns out getting money for free parking is just considered a house rule, and that's a total bummer to me. But probably not that big of a deal. My theory is just that people like what got tired of landing on it because like now that it's we play by the classic rules, if you land on it, it's just completely boring. So I have the like theory that they were like, this is going to be the most treasured space on the board. We're going to make it where if you land on this, you love it. Whereas in reality, it's just like the most boring space. You're like, oh man, I mean, I guess this is better than going to jail or just visiting jail, but it's pretty much the same, right? So that's all I have to say about Monopoly. I'm not going to go into it too much, but yeah, I just, the other day I was checking Breck's internet history. He doesn't know that I look around because I'm like, is he listening? No, he's going to listen to this someday and it's all good. He probably still have to ask somebody what I'm talking about, but he doesn't know about internet history, which is probably good. I'm scared to check it most of the time. I just want to keep thinking that I can avoid that whole thing. I know it started for me particular when I was like his age, but I was just hoping that I had more time. I was just hoping it was going to last longer. It really seems like we're almost into that point, but I was just checking his internet history just to, you know, keep tabs on him, make sure that he's doing the right thing. And I saw he got to this page that said, "Are you sure you're a parent?" And I thought that was really funny, so I asked him about it. Also, really funny that like the site, it was Lego Life, so it was just like he was trying to watch a Lego video. Excuse me, that's not what he was trying to do. He was at the Lego site. What he told me he was trying to do is fuck, I don't remember what he told me he was trying to do. I have a theory about what he was trying to do. He told me that he was trying to, God, I can't remember. I don't know. He said he was trying to do something on Lego Life, but for the longest time, he's been asking me to take pictures. They have this ongoing segment where, like, they have like kids submit their Lego creations. So, for instance, they've put together either something that they made themselves or something that they've created from the instruction packet, or multiple things that they've created from the instruction packet, and then they send them in as a photo. And he's always asking me to take the photo, but I'm like, dude, we have to do it with good lighting. Like, if we don't do it with good lighting, they're not going to use it. They're not going to use the photos that suck for the magazine or the website. So, like, basically the idea, and we just never, set them up in an area, because like he's got them set on his shelf and we got to take him out of his room, and like I was like, we got to just, or put lighting in there. Like, there has to be lighting, but it's not really good because he would have to like get down on the ground and it would be weird. But my point in saying all that is that maybe he was trying to take a photo, because I did see on his tablet that he's got pictures of his Legos. So like he made a Minecraft creation, which is cool because you can pretty much make the Minecraft creation that they have in the instructions. But also, like, since Minecraft is like create your own thing, anything that you create is really, anything goes. So I don't know. I just think that maybe he was trying to do that. Maybe he was like, Dad's never going to actually take these photos, and Dad's never going to actually submit these, so I'm going to have to do it myself. And then it just got to this page where it said, "Are you sure you're a parent?" You know what I mean? Like, as if he'd tried to go through the accomplishment stages, or whatever. What is it? Qualifying stages. What the fuck am I talking about? He tried to go through the qualifying stages, and it said, you know what I mean? Like, he answered the questions in some way or another, and they know that like kids are gonna try to do this without their parents' permission. So there's this page that says, "Are you sure you're a parent?" And I know it's dumb. You're like, if you're not, you're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, dude. What are you talking about? But if you check your kid's internet history and you see that they got to a page that says, "Are you sure you're a parent?" It's a little funny. It's like, I haven't found anything negative yet. Like I said before, YouTube, normal things, which now he just gets on the normal thing of YouTube. He likes to watch all those Minecraft kids. I can't blame him. I've said it before, but I can't believe how many views they get. I heard on another podcast recently, like, don't compare yourself to the YouTube or the Minecraft kids. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. They can keep those kids' attention, but I think it's just it's babysitter. It's like somebody's busy, even like I'm guilty of it. I'm in the kitchen doing dishes and he's watching YouTube. Like, it certainly happens. Like I said, I try to keep tabs on him because I know there's going to come a time, but I just hope I have as much time as I can until that comes. And I don't know. Oh yeah, he said he was just trying to visit a page, but I still can't remember what the page was. I don't know why I can't remember it. Probably because I was like formulating my own theory the whole time. Right? I'm like, what were you really trying to do? What was really going on there? But the other day I found scissors under his pillow, and I was kind of concerned because like back in the day I used to like put steak knives in my nightstand. I was like, have these paranoid feelings in the middle of the night, and I was like, go down and get a steak knife and put it in my nightstand as if that was going to somehow help me if somebody ever broke into my house. I just had these weird paranoid feelings. So I see these blunt tipped children's scissors under his pillow, and I was like really concerned. And then the next day I looked, and it was like under his desk. And then the following day they were like on his dresser. And I was like, okay, what's the common denominator here? He has been doing projects in each one of those places each day, and he's lazy. He just likes to leave the scissors wherever he was doing his little books. It's kind of cute. He makes these little books. They're normally about Minecraft or Fortnite. And sometimes I have to ask him who the characters are, but it's so cute. I love it. He'll like take a glue, and he'll take printer paper, and he cuts them and he puts them all together. And he has little books about Minecraft and Fortnite, and they're very cute. And I don't know why I'm talking about that. Oh, because I found his scissors. Yeah, right. So I kept finding these scissors, and I was like, what the fuck? But the common denominator is just that he leaves him in the space that he seems to play for that day. So I think it has a lot more to do with laziness than any other reason. Like, I don't think he's concerned about his future or for fear or anything like that, or paranoia. I think it was just a matter of one day he was doing his projects on his bed, so they ended up under his pillow. The next day he was doing his projects under his dresser, so they ended up, or under his desk, so they ended up under his desk. And the next day he was doing his projects on his dresser, and so they ended up on his dresser. So luckily it wasn't anything I needed to be worried about, but it's one of those things that could be alarming off the bat. You're like, oh my goodness, why are there scissors under your pillow? But it wasn't anything eventually. So That's always kind of a relief, right? I did though. I used to get scared as a kid, man. I don't know what. I think it was because like my mom would tell me that my dad got in trouble, right? So she would tell me that he got in trouble for burglary, and so then like I thought, well, what's burglary? And it's like, well, you enter a home that you're not supposed to be, and so for some reason, and maybe you're supposed to. Like people say, it's actually it's primal. Like you have this fear that somebody's going to. Maybe break into your home, or you have this like ongoing sense of awareness or sense of alertness, and it's just a primal thing that like we always had to do, because if you were sleeping in the woods, and next to your fire, and you heard something in the woods, it was like your ability to respond could keep you alive. And so I think it has more to do with that. And when you're a kid, you just don't really know how to identify that. Like, what am I concerned about? You know what I mean? What is this? What is this sense that I feel like I need to protect myself at night? Like, what the hell is this? But I don't think that's it. I don't think these blunt tip children's scissors that I found in multiple different places have anything to do with that. It could, but it just seems more like he was cutting his pieces of printer paper to put them in his little books that he glues together, which is the cutest thing ever. I mean, I know I say that all the time. I'm like Bert Kreischer when he says it's the best thing ever, or like his best podcast ever, or his best day ever. It's like any day is his best day ever, or any podcast is his best podcast ever. I say that about my son. I'm like, it's the cutest thing ever. But if you have kids, you get it. It's silly. You just melt away. That's dumb. I don't mean to say that. And I guess there's probably a better way to describe it, but it's, you know what I mean. You're like, I don't know. It's so easy to see yourself in those positions and just wish you had somebody there to say good job, or, say how cool it was or whatever. And yeah, so one thing I was thinking about recently is like titles. Doesn't it seem like I mentioned it, like people are like, dude, we don't care. We didn't listen to that. We don't know. We weren't there. Let this stand alone. But doesn't it seem like there are some times where like an employer will try to motivate you or incentivize you with like a title change? And it seems more like I'm not going to change my course of action because you're calling me something different. You know what I mean? Like, I've just met people where that's like such a big deal to them. And I think it was at one time or another, like when I was younger and you're like going out and you're meeting people. And so it's nice to be able to say like, oh, I'm the director of sales. But then it's like they ask you like, what do you do? And it's like, not as cool as maybe you thought it would be or whatever. But my point in saying that is like throughout the course of your day, like how often does somebody actually contact you by your title, right? Like more often than not, they're just going to be calling you by your name, if anything, or just, addressing you in some way or another that begins the conversation and lets you know that you need to speak at this point with them. It just seems like if it's a point where you are addressing your title, nobody wants to be in the fucking room anyway. Like nobody wants to listen to that. It's like one of those situations where like everybody's introducing themselves by their title. It's like nobody wants to be there. That's not a comfortable situation, or at least I don't think it is. I don't think it matters. But again, I've had like employers in the past multiple times, like multiple employers where like they'll try to incentivize you and be like, well, we gave you a promotion. And it's like, not really. I'm getting paid the same. You're just calling me something different. It's like, that's not I'd be curious to see what other people have to say about that. Like, if they're like, oh, you were the sales manager, but now you're the sales fucking whatever, senior sales manager, and you're like, but I get paid the same and you want me to do more? Fantastic. That's great. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted you to call me something different. I didn't want to get paid more. I just wanted you to give me a different title. I don't know. That's how it registers with me. Am I being silly? Am I being crazy? It's just like, if anybody is addressing you by your title, like I said, it's unlikely that it's happening at work. And if it is, no one wants to be there. And it's like when you come home, do they address you by your title? Let's hope not. Like, let's not. You get home and you're getting ready to go to your dinner table and they're like addressing you by your title at work. Unlikely, right? Like, no, that's not happening. So my point in saying that is like, how much of your day, no one cares. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares that you're the CFO, CEO, director of sales, whatever the fuck it is. Like, nobody cares. That doesn't, and not to mention, does that matter on who you are as a person? So if you're the CEO or the CFO, or does that make a difference on who you are as a person? I mean, granted, in those situations in particular, you're very high up at possibly, I was going to say probably, but then I decided to say possibly, so it says possibly, at possibly a high quality company, but I don't know. Again, who cares? Like, I guess, again, if it matters on how much income you make, yeah, that's really that. I mean, is it bad? Am I not supposed to care about that? Am I supposed to be like, not, you know what I mean? That's the bottom line. I think, I don't know. That's what we use to keep score ultimately, right? Is like the amount of income that you can actually create, the amount of wealth that you can accumulate in the time that you have available, whether that's in a day or your lifetime. It seems like that's the ultimate unfortunate thing that people are often judged by. So in the same way, if I'm judging my own career, my own future, just because you're calling me something different but paying me the same, or even asking more of me but paying me the same, it's like, I'm not gonna, that doesn't matter to me. I'm not interested in that. That doesn't affect me in a positive way at all. So I'd be curious to see what other people think. And like I said, I mean, like the only times that I ever thought it mattered was when I was younger. And it's like nice if like you're going to introduce yourself to a girl in a bar, right? And you're just like trying to say like, because that's the only time that it ever comes up. But does everybody tell the truth in those situations? I'm probably bad to be a skeptic. I'm probably bad to think that everybody's got an agenda. But I just think that maybe not everybody's telling truth in those situations anyway. But point being, that was my whole goal for the longest time, is I didn't want to go up to people and be like, yeah, I clean cars every day, you know, because it's like, that sounds like I'm a piece of dog shit. But unfortunately, it's like probably one of the freer situations that I had. And I mean, I don't know if this is just my situation in corporate America, but nobody's being themselves. Nobody's being real. It's all horseshit. One time I even asked my boss, I was like, doesn't it seem like we have to like communicate with each other in a way that it's not real at all? And he's like, that's the game. That's what you have to do. That's just what you do. Like, for instance, we would normally dress in a certain way. And as I look back, I realized I was a fucking alcoholic and I was wasted all the time. And I didn't realize that I look like I had a boss when I was younger in my career that described the look as a golfer look. And the idea was like I would wear a polo and slacks. But now I look back and it's like, that's really so trashy. But again, she called it the golfer look. And so I always thought like that was acceptable. But point being, I had this one boss one time that eventually was like, every time our boss would come into town, he'd be like, let's suit up. We're going to suit up tomorrow. And I loved it. Like you feel much better. And I have no fucking idea why I'm talking about this. I have no idea why I'm talking. Oh yeah. But I asked him, I was like, you know, cause like clearly if we don't dress like that every day, and unfortunately I just didn't know, you know what helped me change is there was this one girl that I ended up dating for a period of time. She was so sweet. She was so nice. She bought my son a car. It was the best thing. Just so nice of her to be thoughtful like that. You know what I mean? Aware that I have a son and aware that nobody cares. Anyway, why was I talking about that? Oh yeah. One day I came in my golfer look, which again, I just had a boss that told me I could dress that way because she thought it was professional. But she always said things like, Colorado's an anything goes state. And I remember one time we went to this sales meeting and there was this girl that was there that was like totally giving her just the trashiest look, like just hated her so much. And my boss told me later the way she interpreted it was like that girl was like angry that I wasn't wearing tights. And she just said, because like, for instance, the girl that we met with was very proper. Like, so she had tights on and really nice shoes on, and she had a skirt on and a blouse and all these things. And my boss had always told me Colorado is an anything goes state. So like, that's how I was trained. So this woman had told me like, you can just wear slacks and a polo and it looks good. But I ended up having this one girl that was comfortable enough with me one time that was like, you look comfortable. And I never fucking wore that ever again. I was like, if that is the nice way of telling me I look terrible, I look like shit. If you're telling me I look comfortable, that's like, oh, and you should never wear that again. And she was, oh, yeah. Do you ever have those girls that like, and I don't mean to, remember the 40-Year-Old Virgin where Paul Rudd's character is like reminiscent about that woman? I don't remember her name because I haven't seen it forever and I don't want to seem like that. But do you ever just have those situations where in your life, like I was in relationships where like, I couldn't trust the person that I was with. So like then the next relationships that I was in, I became untrustworthy. And then like you looked back and you're like, realistically, that was like the nicest girl that I had ever met in my life. She wanted to introduce me to her parents. She bought me food every day. And I know that sounds dumb, but like as a man, to have a girl that just like literally wants to feed you every day and take care of you and like spend time with you, it's weird. It's like, it goes a long way, which I know sounds stupid, but she was just one of those situations where I just had totally been fucked up from like situations I was in the past, not situations, but relationships. And I couldn't trust anybody. And so I became an untrustworthy person. And then I, ended up just demolishing that whole possibility or future. But it was nice that she had the ability to be comfortable or tell me that I looked comfortable, because I never wore that shit ever again. I was like, I can't dress like that. But again, I had this boss that just told me like, that's the anything goes state. We live in the anything goes state, so like the idea is like she would wear jeans to work, and like she wouldn't wear tights, you know what I mean? Like, whereas in the business world, it's often, I realized it was not the case as soon as I would like travel out of the city. So like if I went to, cause we were working in hotels in Loveland and Greeley, Colorado. So like every time I'd go to like Denver or something like that, and I'd be in my shitty slacks and like hopefully a button up shirt, but with no tie, and everybody'd have their like nice fitted suits on and their ties. And I'd be like, oh, I look fucking terrible. And I feel like dog shit. But I didn't realize, dude, I had that for the longest time. I had these like 38 size pants. So for instance, there was this rule where there was this great sale, right, at like Men's Warehouse, and so we went and we bought a bunch of pants, but then the rule was they're only the sale price if you don't get them tailored. So I was stupid enough to like be stubborn and be like, well, I'm getting the sale price. That's what they advertised. I want the sale price. And so I didn't get them tailored. But of course, I just look like an idiot because they're 38 pants and they're hanging off me. And I wore them for like 4 years. And the whole time I just kept telling myself, like, well, you're going to get fat again anyway. You're going to get fat again anyway. And so I was like, you just need to wear bigger clothes. But then again, you go to these places where like eventually the style became like very fitted, right? Like you literally have like these button ups that are fitted. The people's fucking pants don't even fit anymore. I mean, they're so goddamn tight and above their pants, it doesn't even make sense. Like, at least at that time, it bagged down. Like, remember, like in like Soprano type look, where like the suit pant would like bag over. It would bag over the dress shoe at least a little bit. And now it's just like fucking so tight in every single way that you're just so sucked into your suit that. Point being, I looked and felt like an idiot after a period of time. But I had that notion that Colorado was an anything goes state, but I wouldn't recommend it. There are. I mean, there's lots of people, like literally, I remember this one girl, we went to conference. It was in Vegas. I know I've talked about that before, but it seems like fucking every conference that you ever go to is always in Vegas for some weird reason. But we went to a conference in Vegas, and there was this girl that literally wore like the most hippie, like mountain climber, I'm a rock climber, I'm from Colorado shit that I'd ever seen in my entire life. And people definitely were looking at her, especially in Vegas, where like everybody's dressed to the nines for the no reason whatsoever. And they were like, doing that thing. Dude, I've seen people do that though at like there's this place where my son went, and he like broke his, dude, I'm probably gonna have trauma for the entire rest of my life. But my son, we were on this trampoline place, and like we went there, and I was trying to launch him, which I should have known is the wrong thing to do at his size, but I thought he would have a lot of fun, and like I can catch him if anything goes wrong. But I try to launch him, and he's never been on a trampoline and experienced that, so he fucking broke his leg. So like he didn't know, he just, I guess, tried to take in the bounce that I tried to use him with the launch. I mean, anybody that's ever used a trampoline knows trying to launch somebody, and so he just absorbed all of that, and so it broke his fucking leg. So why am I talking about that? Why am I talking about breaking his leg? Why am I talking about breaking his... I have no idea. I can't remember at all. Why I'm talking about that. Yeah, so Breck and I went to the trampoline place, and he broke his leg, and I don't remember at all why I brought that up. Son of a bitch. I was on a roll there. Someday I'll look back and I'll read this, and I'm like, God, you're such an idiot. Honestly, I don't know how I completely lost what I was talking about. Maybe it'll come back to me eventually. But, yeah, I don't know. I remember talking about like how it was like titles, and like if you were like going into a bar, that seemed like the only time in my younger age or days. I was going to say age and days, and then I said both of them together. You know what I mean? Or you go to a party or something, and people are like, what do you do? But other than that, or like, what, a networking shit? But you're only doing networking shit if you have one of those type of jobs, I feel like. And I always had like a situation where like, it seemed like in all those networking situations, I wore the buyer hat a lot more than I ever got to wear the seller hat, right? Because it's like expected. I mean, you understand, like, okay, you're going to one of these networking events, and you obviously, the goal is you want them to do business with you. You want them to work with you. So, of course, you expect that they want you to do business with them, right? But it just seemed like after years and years of doing it, and honestly, it's crazy to think, like, my experience in it deeply was in like 2012, which is insane to think that was fucking 10 years ago by now. But it just seems like you wear the buyer's hat so much more. Like, you know what I mean? There's people in multi-level marketing schemes. There's people that are financial advisors. There's people that do retirement. There's people that want to have your bank account. There's people that are DJs. There's people that want to do your wedding. There's people that, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's great that I get to meet with all these people all the time at all these networking events, but it's so often that they want me to buy something from them. So, and I don't know why I'm talking about that either. It's a great thing that I can try to go back, I guess. Oh yeah, titles. So it was titles. So that's the only other time that, you know, you're going around and saying like exactly what your title is. But again, if you have a shitty title, if you're fucking, you know, bathroom cleaner, you're not going to the networking event and standing in the circle and telling everybody what you do anyway. But I don't know, maybe I'll be able to get my train track back on tracks here. My train track back on... I was trying to say, get my train back on the tracks, because clearly I can't remember. I was talking about two different things. Couldn't remember what I was talking about. I was trying to go back and find out what I was talking about, and that I lost the new thing that I meandered off on. So I'll be right back. I'm back. I still can't remember what I was talking about. I know I was talking about titles, and just, I mean, again, they're just not important to me. Like, I can't imagine I'm the only one that feels that way. Like, do you really rest easier knowing that, for instance, they call you the director of something, or they call you the executives of something? Like, doesn't it more matter like what you do in your real life than what they call you at work? I don't know if I'm being crazy. The only things that I really remember are like nicknames more so, or like silly names that people called me at work. Like I remember when I worked at CU Boulder, they have for the football games, in order to put the concessions together, they have like runners, because the place was built in like the 1930s or whatever, and you can check that. And I don't know, maybe I'll look it up. Nobody cares. I'm gonna look it up just because it's silly. Because one time I said something. Oh yeah, I said something about Superman, and I was just like totally kidding, and turned out that I was 1 year off in both the things that I said. I was just like totally talking shit about when Superman was created, and I think I said it was created in like 1980, and it was created in like 1978 or some shit, and then like I said the other one was created in 1983, and it was created like 1981. So point being, it's probably not the right thing to just spout off shit that I said I didn't know, and I don't know this either, and it'll take me like 10 minutes to turn this fucker on, so probably not a good idea to even try, because I don't even remember what I was going to look up anymore. That's a great idea, right? No idea what I was going to look up. How bad is that? My memory is awful. I have no idea what I was going to look up. I'll get Google going, but no clue. No clue what I was supposed to look up. Maybe it'll come back to me. I was just saying how like the only names that I ever really appreciated, or titles that I ever really came, to my future with, were like the funnier names or the nicknames that I receive. Like I remember one time, they like, oh yeah, I was saying that like at CU Boulder, oh yeah, I'm an idiot. And then I was saying it was created in like the 1930s. And I was like, okay, I should check. Okay, so like what year was Folsom Field, not prison. It asked the auto thing was like, what year was Folsom Prison built? Which is cool if you're like a Johnny Cash guy, but that's not where we're going. We're going, what year was Folsom Field built? Because again, my whole thing was to say that it was built in the 1930s, and I was actually fucking wrong. It was built in 1924. So look at that. So it was even worse than I thought. So I was going to act like I was exaggerating by saying the 1930s, but okay, so it turns out Folsom Field, named after the legendary University of Colorado coach Frederick Folsom, opened for the first 1924 season and has been the home of the Buffs ever since. So I was actually wrong. So when I was younger, I had this job as a concessionaire, and it was because like the field was built in 1924. Some of the popcorn equipment, literally, we would joke around, was from the 1930s. Now I'm actually like more certain it probably was. So, like, point being, the way the place was established for a totally different time of people. So they had to have jobs for people that normally wouldn't even exist. But like, if you've ever, just as an example, they don't have any fridges or anything anywhere. They don't have any food storage anywhere. So all of the food storage for every single concession place on the entire place has to be set up just for the game, and then of course taken down just for the game. So basically you have to create, what is it, like 15 kitchens all across the campus in order to set up for the game day. No idea why I'm talking about this. I'm so bad at this. Just keeping my fucking train on the tracks, to use the exact same fucking metaphor that I used earlier. Remember that Dr. Carter thing, that Dr. Carter from Wheezy, in like the Carter 3, when he's like, his metaphors are whack. That's me right now. The only thing I guess I was going to say is that they called me, I was really fast, right? I would cruise around that campus. Like, I would fucking haul everywhere because it was not built for the work that they have to do in it, especially now. Imagine what they're doing in there now. Who knows? This was years ago, but like, the place was created 100 years ago, right? So it's not at all ready for like the things that they have to hold in it now, or the amount of fucking people that they have going through it now. So I would haul ass around that place, man. And we'd be like moving everything, like moving grills, moving fryers, moving sinks. Like, you had to create everything. You had to put the freezers, put the fridges, put the kitchen equipment. You had to create kitchens all along the campus. But they called me Flash, and I think it was just because I was really fast. But again, like, I don't know what the fuck my title was there. I don't care. It didn't matter. Like, it was embarrassing. Like, there was the most beautiful women, like, for goodness sake. Like, that was one job where like I wanted to wear my nicest clothes and I was doing the dirtiest, nastiest shit, but you're walking around CU Boulder campus and it's just like every single girl there is like some fucking lawyer's daughter or some billionaire's kid, and it's just, they got some good genes. That's all I gotta say. I can't imagine. I don't know. They didn't have any interest in the guy that was hauling the fryers through the campus trying to I almost shot snot out of my nose. That's really cool. That's really awesome. I thought it was people were like, dude, it wasn't that funny, but apparently my nose thought different. But I don't remember what they called me there. I remember my experience there. I remember that they called me Flash. I remember I had another job where like we were creating hotels. We were building these multi-million-dollar hotels like up and down the I-25 corridor is the easiest, close thing. If you're like in Colorado, you kind of know where I-25 is. But I was an apprentice plumber and they were teaching me how to plumb, and there was this electrician that was always in the same buildings, and he called me Ghost because he just said that like he'd be working in a room and then like he'd see me behind him and then he'd look around and I wasn't there. And he just said it would happen all the time because, like in a hotel, you're just doing the same thing over and over and over, or at least like, if there's 83 rooms, you're doing the same thing 83 times. Or if there's like a kitchen and a bathroom, you might even be doing it twice in each room for your particular plumbing task. So like, again, I guess I remember my title there, and it's not the coolest thing to tell people you were an apprentice plumber, because I think more people think like that all I ever did was like haul pipe, but they were super nice. Like they tried to advance me way quicker than I was ready. Like I was not ready for all the things. I hoped that for years I got to just cut pipe. I literally thought my life as a plumber and as an apprentice plumber would just be to cut pipe, but it would be like fucking weeks in and they were asking me to install them, and I was like, no dude, I can't. I'm not advanced enough for this. And they have this other stuff called like PEX, and none of this matters in anybody's life ever, but it's like this really flexible tubing that you can install water pipe with. So like eventually a very unskilled person can actually be fairly competent with PEX, with this stuff it's not like copper pipes or anything difficult like that, which can take a lot more skill and a lot more years of experience. But no idea. Just the fact that like the electrician that was always working on these same multi-million-dollar hotels, because like this company was really fortunate. It was actually the weirdest story, because like I shouldn't say all, a number of hotels that I worked for in the past that like I literally had like sales jobs or like started as my whole hotel career, I later plumbed to build their hotels. So odd, right? Like they fire me, they got rid of me, I then get a job as a plumber, an apprentice plumber, and their jobs are to build their new multi-million-dollar hotels. It's just like, what a crazy small world. But Yeah, I guess I remember my title there. Not one that you're super excited to tell people about, but I also remember like, yeah, he called me like Flash. You know what I mean? So like these are the things that stand out more so than like, I don't know. Yeah, they call me Ghost. They call me Ghost at the plumbing job. They call me Flash at the CU job. I remember another person called me Roadrunner, but I don't remember exactly where that was. It was just again kind of the same idea that I was quick and I was able to get things done quickly, so they called me Roadrunner, but not very unique, right? I guess in the sense that well, none of them are fucking original. They're all quoting something. I remember when I went to this camp, my parents, I've probably talked about it before, but my parents, when I was 13 years old, they sent me off to this camp in the middle of nowhere in Utah. It was outside of like, the closest town was like a 400 population town that was like 8 miles away, but it was just in the middle of a desert where everything around you was just sagebrush. Everything around you was like sagebrush and like red dirt. But I remember the boss of that place, which people always said he was like a multi-millionaire. They always said because he owned that place. Because like, for instance, there was hundreds and hundreds of kids at that camp, and our parents paid $100 a day for us to be there. It wasn't exactly that, but it was $3,000 a month. So it was approximately $100 a day. But so your parents, everybody's paying $3,000 a month for their kid to be there. And he's got hundreds of kids there, and they feed us nothing, and they make us do all the work on the ranch, and they don't pay us anything. And yeah, it's like they limit our shower time, they limit our everything, our essentials. So it's like, people always said that guy was a multimillionaire. I don't remember why I'm talking about him. Oh yeah, because he called me Ether, which is like super creative, right? Like he literally just like took my name and then changed it. I guess you could say that like if you lit ether on fire, it would light a fire easier than other things, but that's the only metaphorical thing that I ever thought, and I still think that goes back to the Dr. Carter thing where your metaphors are weak. But those are the only real cool titles that I can ever recall. You know, it's like, it's not like it ever mattered to be anything. I don't know. I mean, tell me if you think it's different. Like, tell me if you think you're excited to be the fucking account executive at wherever, or, you know, the senior sales manager or where, because I don't think it matters. I don't think anybody cares. And again, I think anytime you're mentioning it, people are just like, dude, can you treat this like your golf game and minimize the strokes? You know, maybe treat your ego like your golf game and just try to stop stroking as much, you know? I know I could have just probably left it the first time I said it, but I'd be curious to see what else is valuable to the people that do give a fuck. Like, okay, if you do care and you're very interested in what you're called at work, and you do care about what your title is, and you think it's important to be able to tell your friends, and you think it's important to be able to tell your family, and you think it's important in your resume, because maybe your resume. I could see where it matters for your resume, but even then it's like, if you've been the person looking through resumes, so quickly those fucking titles can just jumble up. And then how often it's like you meet people and they're like totally full of shit. Like what they wrote on their resume and their title was 100% not what they did, not who they are. So it's like, I don't know. Again, okay, that's another instance where I could think maybe a title mattered, is like on your resume where somebody's going to be like reading it. But again, as somebody that's read shitloads of resumes for multiple different positions, they just all start to blend together after a while. After a while, it's like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you read enough of those titles, those like exclusive, amazing, I'm not coming up with good adjectives, but basically trying to show that you're a badass title, and you're like, I can't afford that guy. You're like, nope, we don't have the budget for that guy. That guy's got 6 amazing titles. I can't fucking afford that. You know, it's like, I saw the budget last year. There's no way we're paying that guy what he expects he's going to get. So I've even seen that like work to people's detriment, you know, but I don't know. Be curious to see what other people think. Do you care about your title? Do you care what people call you? Is it important in your life? Because I think in the grand scheme of things, nobody gives a fuck. There was a story at one time or another, I don't remember when it was. Probably look it up. I have Google open now, but it was that one about the most Instagrammable places. The only reason I'm thinking about it is like one of the most Instagrammable places was this castle in Colorado. Let's see when that list came out. Most IG places. It probably won't be that simple, huh? But it was like the most Instagrammable places. Jesus Christ. Well, whenever. Okay, that was. I do not know when I read that, and I do not know how long ago it was, but these are like really cool places. Like the number one place is Disneyland, which totally makes sense. The number two place is the Eiffel Tower in Paris. The third place is Walt Disney World. Yeah, okay, so definitely none of them are in Colorado. That's so crazy. When the fuck did I read that? I hope to God it's at least on this somewhere. Wouldn't that be crazy if it wasn't even on this at all? Now I feel silly for saying it. Well, there was this place in Colorado. They have this like castle, right? It's a super crazy castle that this guy built all by himself. So like for years and years and years, he literally was putting together rocks and then putting together, I think it was concrete, in order to put this castle together by himself. I think it's like outside like Rye, Colorado or something like that. Do you have Google open in your face still? Do you still have Google open right in front of you? Do you think you could just look it up? Castle in Colorado, Bishop Castle, Adventure to New Heights. Is that it? Bishop Castle, Westminster Castle. Apparently, there's a lot of fucking castles. It's this one with this like crazy dude. I know that's the worst description of it ever, but there's basically this gentleman that like his family, they like even did like raves there, and like his wife had like taken up stripping and started stripping at the castle. I just remember it from like stories from forever, but it's not in here. Maybe I'm not using the right search results. What a piece of shit. I just put Colorado Castle. What if I say like Rye? Let's see if it's near Rye. They're saying Bishop Castle. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah, so it's called Bishop Castle. Okay, so they say Bishop Castle is an elaborate and intricate one-man project. See? Okay, I found it. So, yeah, so there's this one right in Colorado that at one time or another was mentioned in an article to say that it was on the most Instagrammable places ever. But the most Instagrammable places, including the Eiffel Tower in Paris, I could totally understand why this piece of I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. It's not POS Castle. It's not a... It's very impressive. It is impressive, right? Like the fact that ultimately it was this one man, so his name was Jim Bishop, and it became a roadside attraction in central Colorado. So yes, it is in Rye. So basically it's 12705 Colorado 165 in Rye. The zip code is 8106569. You're like, dude, how'd you fuck that up so bad? It's five fucking things, and you fucked it up that bad. 5 digits. Yeah, so it's called Bishop Castle. But basically, there's just this guy in like the middle of Colorado. It's not the middle. It's definitely southern Colorado. It's closer to like New Mexico. But he's built like this castle nearly by himself. And then eventually his son ended up helping him years later. But like I said, they had this crazy run of like having like raves at the castle and like having years of like just having drugged out people, which if you've ever been in that scene, you understand why, because you're like up all night and then you're a fucking zombie the next day and you're like a depressed, miserable piece of shit. And so you're just like either sleeping or like sitting around being completely miserable. And so apparently they had a lot of that for going on for years, but I don't know. I'm just curious if anybody else had seen that. And the only reason I was going to bring it up is because I thought it was on a list that other people could relate to. But for goodness sakes, all those places are like, oh yeah, no, that's definitely the most Instagrammable places. Not what I saw. It says number 35 is the Space Needle. You know what I mean? It's like these places totally make sense. The Great Wall of China. There's no way this Colorado Bishop Castle was on this list. There's zero chances. Alhambra, one of Spain's major tourist attractions, a fortress complex in Grandia. I can't even say that word. Yeah, there's no way it was on this list. Somebody's so full of shit. Number 32 is in Wyoming. It's Yellowstone. So Yellowstone's kind of a big deal, right? And now they have that big show about it, right? Yellowstone Park is number 31. It was number 32 and number 31? Oh, because it's number 32 in Wyoming, and then they didn't want to feel like Montana was left out, so number 31 is in Montana. I guess if Montana and Colorado are in this list, which, again, compared to the Eiffel Tower and the Great Wall of China, are we serious? I mean, I appreciate these things, and they're beautiful, but Rio de Janeiro? Like, really? Are these all on this? Is this real? Is this? Do we all feel this way? Everybody feels like fucking La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, Spain. There's no way that was on this list. Okay, so I was the Giza pyramids. The Giza pyramids, the most Instagrammable places. Okay, so I'm done looking at the list. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way that this castle in Colorado was on that list. That's why I was impressed. I was like, wow, a place in Colorado made on the most Instagrammable places. But I clearly read wrong or made that up or don't know where I got it from. I guess there's some cool castles in Colorado that I was interested in. But if you ever have the chance to be in southern Colorado or you're near New Mexico, you should definitely check it out. I've never personally checked it out. My mom and her boyfriend that's now in prison checked it out, and he particularly said it looked really unsafe. He was like, I don't think people should be walking on any of that. And apparently there's like a lot of signs around there that says like, foul language expected, or that's totally not what it says. It says something like, I don't remember what it says. The idea is the guy is not interested in the government. He built a castle by himself in the middle of nowhere. You can probably imagine the type of person he is. But if you've never heard about it before, you should look it up. I want to go there sometime. I'd like to check it out. Clearly doesn't belong on the same list as the Giza pyramids or Rio de Janeiro. But yeah, really glad I thought that was a thing. But totally wrong. Yeah, that's funny. I remember another castle that I went to. I actually thought it was gonna be it's pretty much the same thing where like I thought it was gonna be really cool, and then I was completely let down, and the situation was not near as exciting. But like again, my dad finally came into my life when I was like 10 years old. Like he got out of prison, and yeah, my mom likes guys in prison. Interesting, right? Yeah, as I mentioned, like yeah, her boyfriend, he just went to prison, and I'm like, yeah, my dad, he was in prison. Apparently she likes those type of guys, so I got lucky like that. But there was this one particular castle that's all along I-25. So if you've ever been in Colorado, in between like Denver and Fort Collins, on the east side of the interstate, there's this place called the Radisson, which is really just a piece of shit hotel. But for the longest time as a kid, I saw this castle along the side of the road, and I was like, oh my god, I want to go there so bad. And so like my dad finally, like for my birthday, he like booked a couple nights there, and it was just this disgusting piece of shit, not taken care of, awful everything hotel. And it's like, geez Louise, these places, I don't know, it's like it seems like castles often let me down. Apparently whatever my childhood watching too many Disney shows apparently really set me up for expectation that was let down. And dude, I clicked the button again. I just clicked the button again just to see what the next thing is, and it's in Athens, Greece. It's Acropolis. Like there's no way that castle in Colorado was on this list. I can't even believe that. I really truthfully cannot even believe that I considered that as a reality or a thought. But yeah, again, I guess I've been let down by a lot of castles in Colorado. Unfortunately, that's like my thing. As I looked it up, there's actually a lot cooler ones than I realized. I apparently, just haven't been following the right ones. There was this time recently I had this pork chop, which I have these pork chops in the fridge. I need to cook. I really need to make them. I don't know why. I just like. Because I'm a cheap piece of shit and I'm poor. That's why. So I was like, why do I eat pork chops so much? But it's because like, dude, so I found out like sausage is bad, right? So like I used to eat a lot of sausage. Like I felt so good. I literally like patting myself on the fucking back, like I'm doing something correctly, like I'm doing something right, because I would put like a whole sheet tray. I put tinfoil over it, of course, because I'm a lazy bitch and I don't want to clean it. So if I just put tinfoil over it, I only have to lightly clean it, and it's not covered in grease. But I'd put tinfoil over a sheet tray, cover it in sausage patties, and I'd put it in the oven, and then you don't have to do barely anything. But I was like, at least I'm eating meat. And oftentimes I'd eat it with hummus, and I know people are like, you're a disgusting piece of shit, but I would basically just like pound a spoonful of hummus and eat a whole sausage patty. And again, I was just like, hey dude, I'm getting amino acids, I'm getting meat. Like I rarely eat meat. I have to like force myself to eat meat. I just like I don't like the ligaments, because I always buy shitty, awful meat, and so I get like fatty, gristly, ligamenty, nasty shit. And so point being, that's why it seems like if I buy pork chops, I'm not going to get that type of nasty shit, and I can at least get some meat. And I had found out that eating sausage, Dr. Rhonda Patrick said it's like giving you cancer. So like just in the same way that the nitrites from bacon are giving you cancer, sausage gives you cancer, and it's probably even worse. And I just made that last part up, but that's just my fears because I was doing it for so long where I was like, at least I'm eating meat. At least I'm getting some source of amino acids. And that might not even be true. I should probably look that up as I'm fucking got Google open. Does sausage give you amino acids? That's the only reason I was eating it. Animal proteins such as meat, eggs, and milk are complete proteins, meaning they provide all of the essential amino acids our body needs. Processed meats include smoked meat, sausage, hot dog, salami, bacon, and canned meat. I'd like to think it does say meat. It's just saying that's a processed meat. Okay, so I see. So it's a processed meat. So at least I'd like to think that it does. It does say it provides all of the essential amino acids that our body needs. So again, I was just like, dude, at least I'm eating some sort of meat. I'm getting some sort of form of amino acid, which now that I think about that, so like last week, and I just feel guilty because I said two things that seemed contradicting, but the truth is both of them are true. They just seem like they're contradicting. So like, and I was embarrassed, and I'll just admit it because I'm a piece of shit. So I was embarrassed that, so like I had said, I have glutamine coming, and I did. I was like, I ordered some glutamine, but it's not here yet. But then later in the podcast, I also said, and I didn't have enough money for it. And it was like, it seemed like that's contradicting, but both are true. So for instance, I was buying glutamine capsules for the longest time. I've been taking these glutamine capsules for probably almost a year. I even stated it was like 35 days after February 15th of 2021. And I've been taking them all year until I did that last podcast of like last week, like, so however long before that. And I didn't have a lot of money because like basically I have a budget, and my budget is dedicated to a lot of things. You know, any human knows what bills are and what you have to do. And so I just didn't have a lot of money for vitamins in that particular time. So it was true what I said, but I also had a lot of credit. So for instance, there's one particular, I shouldn't just say one, I buy a lot of shit from Onnit. So I had some stuff from Onnit, and I have so many Onnit X points there that I had like multiple $30 coupons. So I was like, okay, even though I don't have enough money for the glutamine capsules that I normally get, which is true. So I said that I didn't have enough money for it. True. Even though I don't have enough money for the glutamine capsules that I normally get, I'll get glutamine from Onnit with my $30 off coupons. So then you do still pay shipping or whatever. But I mean, honestly, when you're paying $30 off your order, it's a pretty nice discount. So for instance, I can't really say, I don't allow myself to feel as bad by cutting into my budget somehow, right? Because I have that $30 off coupon. But I guess I just wanted to describe that. But the reason I say that is, those came, so my fucking glutamine finally came, and the first day I had way more than I should have because I felt like I hadn't been having it in forever, and I felt like my heart was like racing more than it should have. I wonder if that's a thing. I should look up if that's a thing. Do amino acids make your heart race? Can amino acids increase heart rate? Such as amino acids, specific vitamins, and minerals can significantly impact your heart rate variability scores and your overall health and performance. Okay, so yeah, for some reason, like I finally got some, and I threw twice as much as they said to take in my shake for the end of the day, and I just felt like I was fucking jacked, dude. Like I was ready to rock and roll. I said that fucking twice today. I hate that I say that. I wish that wasn't a saying of mine. A couple times ago, I remember getting on myself because I say dude, and I realized how often I say dude, and I realized where I got that. I got that from my son. He says it all the time, and he gets it from YouTube, and so I'm just a product of my environment, unfortunately. But no, I don't remember what I was talking about because I'm like, where are you going with that shit? Oh yeah. So I finally, yeah. I just didn't buy the original ones because I didn't have it in the budget at the time, and I ordered them from a different company, but it took a while for them to ship. It was like a 4 to 9 business day shipping arrangement. But dude, I just gotta say, like, oh, that's how this all came up. Yeah. So I was calling back on the story. So I have to have like some sort of meat because I have to get amino acids. But when I started taking glutamine again, dude, it's a game changer. Like my workout this morning, I felt so much better. Like for an example, I did the same workout on Tuesday of this week that I did on Friday of this week, which is you're like, dude, you don't release this on Friday. You release it on Wednesday. So I guess that's how the sausage is made. That's funny. We're talking about meats and pork and shit. But yeah, now you know a little bit more. So this is a Friday, right? But I did the same workout today, and having taken the amino acids for a period of days, taken the glutamine, my goodness, dude, it made such a big difference. I can't believe it. I mean, it's not like you can tell people to take it, because I imagine if you're not working out, it could be a bad thing. But when I work out for 2 hours a day, so if I feel like if I don't take it, I'm fucking exhausted. I'm literally passing out in the fucking car. Like I'm so tired, and I just feel like it gives me so much more energy. But the only reason I was even talking about this is because like I was thinking about, I gave my son a bite of my pork chop the other night, and when I cook pork chop, I put a lot of cayenne pepper on it, and I'm so used to it now, because like, for instance, I also eat black pepper every day, and there's just like, I think people underestimate completely the value of black pepper. Like I know that everybody says like, well, this has bioperine in it. Like all of my supplements have black pepper extract in it. Dude, I don't think it's the same. When you go to a fine class restaurant, when you go to a nice fucking establishment, do they give you shitty ground pepper, or do they ground fresh pepper for you? Because I know what the answer is. The answer is, when you go to a fine place, they're going to ground fresh pepper for you. So just in the same way, I think eating fresh black peppercorns every day, multiple times a day, like I probably started with like a quarter full, and now in my hand it probably looks like a silver dollar amount. So I take like a silver dollar amount of black fresh peppercorns, and I chew them up, and I take my turmeric at the same time. So I typically, at the same time I'm eating a meal, I eat those black peppercorns. But dude, it's just, those I think it's so underestimated, because like I can go to a wholesale club, buy $8 worth of fresh black peppercorns that lasts me 6 months, and I think that it does a huge difference. Like all of my supplements also have finely ground pepper in them, but I don't think it's the same as fresh ground that you're chewing up the minute you take it. But I think pepper, I don't remember why I'm talking about this. Oh, I guess just the fact that like amino acids seem to like give me an edge. I also feel like black pepper gives you an edge. I also feel like it, I mean, of course I'm gonna have to go here. I'm gonna have to give a break 1 second. But turmeric plus black pepper. Turmeric and black pepper each have health benefits due to the compounds curcumin and piperine, as piperine enhances curcumin absorption in the body by 2,000%. So combining the spices magnifies their effects. So I, for instance, just know at least it's good to take it. But my point is, everybody says, well, this already has black pepper in it. Dude, I'm just telling you, give it a shot. Sometime give it a shot. Oh, and the only reason I was mentioning this, because I do that every day, because I chew black peppercorns twice a day, and because I put cayenne pepper on my pork chops, I have lost the ability to realize how spicy things are. And the other day I gave my son a bite of my pork chop, and it had cayenne pepper on it, and I saw his eyes explode. Like his eyes just, I was like, dude, what happened? What happened? I was like, is everything okay? I was like, what's going on? And he's just like, it's so hot. It's so hot. And I literally had like forgotten like how literally hot cayenne pepper can be. And you're like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. Like, especially somebody with a young palate is not going to be able to accept cayenne pepper. But it's just one of those things you have to see. Like, I wish I would have got it on camera. His eyes just exploded, just 100%. Like, they're just normal eyes, and then they're so much white. Like, I never seen so much white because it was so hot. But I'll be right back. I'm back. I was considering eating like pizza tonight. I know I shouldn't. I guess I just like, sometimes on these days where I feel like I've done my hardest workout twice this week, I feel like I give myself this excuse, but I know it's terrible. I always feel like dog shit the next day. My fucking knee hurts. My back hurts. Literally, I have 2 bites of a piece of pizza and my fucking back starts hurting. I swear to God. Like, even, it's funny. You know how there's that like myth? It's not a myth, because it does make sense. Like, doesn't it seem like if your stomach hurts, you were at one time in your life told that if you eat crackers, it will settle your stomach, which I do think is true. Excuse me. But like, for instance, then my son the other day, he's like, well, crackers are healthy. And I knew where he was getting that from. He's getting that from that. It's like when you're sick and you have a stomach ache, sometimes you'll be given crackers because they say it settles your stomach, or sometimes you're even given crackers with your medicine, right? But I had to like explain to him like, well, actually not. Like crackers are actually more of an inflammation causing food, and people are like, dude, I hate you. You should let your kid eat crackers. You're awful. But he should know, right? I mean, like I think he should know. Like it is what it is. Because I mean, it is what it is. But like this week he got sick, right? So like he was feeling like shit one night, and I was like, you know, they probably have the most powerful people ever, but it's not like they'll probably ever hear this. But like, he just also happened to say this week that he had McDonald's for dinner twice. So like, okay, you had McDonald's for dinner twice this week, and now you feel like shit. Do you think there's any correlation? Do you think maybe the fact that your mom fed you McDonald's for 2 dinners this week and now you feel like you're sick and you're ill and you don't want to go to school, do you think maybe those things are connected at all? You know what I mean? Like I don't mean to be silly. Don't remember why I was going off on that. Oh yeah, because he was like, well, crackers are healthy, and I'm like, in fact, they're really not. Oh yeah, and I was talking about that because I'm really thinking about it. That's the thing, dude. I want it so bad, and I know it's terrible for me. I know that like I'm always gonna burn it off. I'm certain that I'll burn it off. But I guess you just wonder like, why give myself the inflammation? Like if I don't need it, you know what I mean? Like if I could wake up tomorrow with more inflammation from bread and fucking inflammation causing food, or less, obviously I'm better off with less. But gosh, fucking pizza tastes good, doesn't it? I really want some. I'm thinking about having some. I know Breck would want some. He would enjoy it. Dude, you know what I was wondering? My eyeball itches. I was in an attic the other day, and there was these like, okay, I always thought that like mouse poop was like a rice, right? Like most mouse poop that you've seen is like a rice size, right? And I can't make a rice with my hands, so I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I saw poop in this attic the other day that was like jelly beans, dude. There was jelly bean poop in somebody's attic. Like, if the poop is the size of a jelly bean, how big is the fucking, I was going to say mouse, but then I'm thinking, is it a rat? Like, how big is the rat in your attic if the poop is the size of a jelly bean? Like, what would cause that to happen? And I told my stylist that, and she thinks that it's probably a raccoon or a rabbit and something not a rat, but gosh, I hope so. Otherwise, I was just thinking, like, for goodness sakes, like, how jacked does that rat have to be if he's in there letting out fucking jelly bean poops? And how is he possibly inhaling that much calories? Like, what is he possibly eating in that home? Oh no, dude, I didn't want to run into him. I definitely did not. It was really nice. It was one of those attics you can stand in. You know, so often you're like crawling around or something like that, but some of these new homes, they're so big of the attic space that you can walk through. At least it was one I could walk in. I did not want to be crawling on my hands and knees next to those jelly bean sized turds. So many of them. And I was in there with the homeowner, and like he was clearly walking right next to me, so there's no way he didn't see him. But oh no, man, I'm grossed out by it. It makes me just feel gross. I don't know why. But yeah, I don't know why I brought that up. Dude, do you remember when like people were like, when I was growing up, I even remember the game of life, right? Like I unfortunately, pathetically started this podcast by talking about the game of Monopoly. But I mean, okay, so if I'm 32, I've been playing that game for 31 and something years. No, 32 and something years. God, I'm good at math. 32 and something years I've been playing. I guess I haven't been playing it my whole life. So let's say I learned how to play Monopoly when I was, 5 or 6 years old? Let's say I was 6 years old. Gosh, now you're going to put yourself on the spot to do math again, you idiot. So what's that, like 26 years? So like, okay, so I've been playing Monopoly for 26 years. If I started when I was 6 years old and now I'm 32, I just didn't know how to play it the whole time. I literally thought that the way I learned it was the way that it was. And again, the only time that I had ever seen it played differently is when I was in juvenile hall, and there was some other kids from different families, of course, and kids that had even, dude, there was kids in there like 30 years old. Like if you get busted on a juvenile crime and then you just keep getting in trouble and in trouble and in trouble, apparently they keep, now that I think about it, which I think about this all the time, I think about this about a lot of people actually, My mom told me this one kid that hung out with us when we were younger was a fucking undercover cop, and I always thought it was crazy that she said that, but he was like fucking 30 something years old. That he totally probably was. I think about it like that. I'm like, dude, that guy was an undercover cop. I guarantee he was an undercover cop. Like, he was fucking watching all you guys all the time. Like, so point being, my mom was super paranoid, and she told us that one time at a party and told us this guy shouldn't hang out with us. But now I think that about a lot of people. Why was I talking about that? Fuck, I don't remember why I was talking about that. No idea. Yeah, just that I guess people are undercover cops all the time. Who did I think was an undercover cop, though? Oh, man, I wish I could remember what the hell I was talking about. No idea. That's crazy. It's crazy I can do that. I don't know. I remember like when people were concerned is what I was originally going to say. And then I was going off on a tangent. But I just remember when people were like more so concerned about like, oh, and then I was talking about Monopoly, and then I don't remember where the fuck I was going with that. And then I was like, another thing I thought of was like the game of life. So like when you'd play the game of life, there was that spot where it was like, you know, midlife crisis, and you'd have to like turn in your career, and you'd have to like do a new career. And like when I was growing up, that was something you'd hear. Like you'd be like, oh no, you know, like I don't remember any real names, but like, you know, Jim went through a midlife crisis. You know, yeah, he lost his job. He's changed careers completely, and like that used to be a really big concern. Like you were like, if somebody was going through a midlife crisis, it was something you heard about, like it was something you'd be concerned about. And now our entire fucking life is a crisis. Like every day, everything is a crisis completely. And I just think that I don't know. It's just it's so crazy that we just deal with so much shit that at one time any sort of bubble or blip, or I mean, you can't say blip, get the fuck out of here, what are you in the MCU, any sort of ripple or, you know, like effect to change your future was considered, you know, just I guess people didn't do it. You know what I mean? People followed the same. It seems like people tried to, like, even for the longest time, I thought that in order to be a person, like in order to be a member of society, I thought like I had to have a wife, and I thought I had to have a family, and I had to have like some prestigious job. And it's like, then you realize like, I don't know, I rushed into a relationship and had a family that I wasn't ready for. And I guess nobody's ever ready for their family when it finally happens. But, and Breck changed my life, and I couldn't be more thankful that I finally ended up with Breck, and nothing else would have led me to have him. But, it just, you rush into these things that like you think are required of you, and you just like feel like for my whole life, you know, my grandparents had a family, and then my parents had a family, and it's like, but even then you realize a lot more people's parents got divorces than say their grandparents did, so there's already a trend that's changing. But I don't know, it just seems like we deal with so much more shit than they ever did, than people ever had. Like, well, you can't, that's a bad argument, right? Because if like our grandparents went through the depression and the fucking stock market falling and stuff when they were first born, or like right before, like, because my grandpa was born in like 1934 and the stock market crashed in 1929. His parents were probably not in the best place when he was born, so that's tough to say. But my thought is just, I feel like I for so long trying to follow this like tradition, or this like expectation or visual, that image that had been, you know, implanted in my head for some reason or another. And then you realize like, it's, I don't know, it wasn't everything it was cracked up to be. Like I wasn't, or maybe I just rushed into the wrong relationship for the wrong reasons too quickly in my life before I was ready for it. But again, it's like, it seems like most people aren't ready for families and kids when it ends up happening. And then I don't know, it's like you feel like I felt like I had to dress nice. I felt like I had to, like, again, like when I bought those slacks and I went to Men's Warehouse, you know, like when I was early 20s, like I thought that was like growing up. I thought like getting a family and like having a partner, and having nice clothes, and like listening to shitty music. Like I remember I literally stopped for the longest time. I think it was probably when my son, he was probably 5 or older. I'd say 5 at the youngest. well, when I finally started listening to like rap with cussing and stuff in it again, but I had literally like made like for this stupid decision that like I had to be this like whatever I thought an adult was for the longest time, where you have like this either relationship or you establish this family or I don't know, and it may sound stupid, but it just seems like there's this like norm that was established in my head that I thought I had to reach, and none of it was what I thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? Ran into a relationship that wasn't something I should have done. And again, I couldn't be more thankful that Breck came out of that, and I couldn't be more grateful. But like, ran into jobs that I only was doing for either the pay or the prestige or almost the status, like I'm fucking corporate Tate, the status, that I got for the status. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I guess at the end of the day, I don't feel like that stuff matters as much as maybe I thought it did at one time. And I have no idea where I'm going with that whatsoever. I guess I was just starting to say like, yeah, I guess these things you just think like, right. Like, I mean, again, like I thought a midlife crisis was like the biggest deal, but it's like now it seems like since for the last 2 years, like fucking everything's a crisis. Like every interaction, everything you have with people it's all a goddamn crisis. Was one thing I realized recently. So, yeah, again, this is apparently an underlying theme. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm poor. I'm not gonna. Who cares? So I go to like wholesale clubs. So like, right, you could buy a bulk when you have a family and you go to a wholesale club. So like, I go to a wholesale club, and it just doesn't make sense, but it does. No, so I made sense of it, and I have a theory. I didn't make sense of it. I have a theory. It seems like if you buy like organic quality, so either organic honey or good quality local honey, it has a completely different consistency than if you just buy like a generic honey. Like, am I crazy, or are they fucking water? Like, okay, so as an example, if you go to Sam's and you can buy 2 honeys for the price that you can buy 1 organic honey, or you can buy 2 honeys for the price that you buy 1 local honey. And honey's amazing. Like, I know you're probably not supposed to eat it. I try to limit sugar. I try to slam my fucking hand into the mic for no reason whatsoever. Just kidding. Sorry. Wow, I really got upset. I really got upset with myself there. I really got mad that I hit my hand on the mic. It was really an unacceptable response. I was trying to think like, my meditation should have given me a minute there, but no, that's not. That's my biggest downfall with that. Is so then I think if I meditate, I'm supposed to like be perfect all the time, and that's so untrue. I need to get that out of my fucking head. Don't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, honey. So whatever it is, whether I feel guilty about it or not, I literally try to limit my sugar. My son knows sugar's bad for him. Again, it seems like all these times that he seems to get sick, I'm like, man, seems like the last time he got sick, it's like, seemed like you had a lot of sugar this week. Or like this time he gets sick, it's like, seems like you had a lot of McDonald's this week, which people even say processes down as sugar anyway. They say the amount of sugar that's in fast food is insane. So anyway, point being, I try not to have that much sugar. I try not to eat that much sugar. It's just not that good for you. But I do somehow allow myself to have it in honey. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I tell myself. Like, I'm just like, I guess if it's in some sort of natural form, I'm like, I guess take my foot. I'm like, fucking any foot pain I ever get, I'm like, I don't know what that means. Oh, yeah, let me slam my hand. I'm just going to slam my hands into everything. I'll just slam my hands into everything. There's something, and I don't mean to say that it's a myth. That's what I was like, I better just look it up. But why do they always say, like, diabetics lose their foot? Diabetics lose their foot. Why do they say that? Over time, diabetes can cause nerve damage, also called diabetic neuropathy, that can cause tingling and pain. And that can make you lose feeling in your feet. Oh, okay. And then it says when you lose feeling in your feet, you may not be able to feel a pebble inside your sock or a blister on your foot, which can lead to cuts and sores. Oh, okay. Is that really it? Is that really why they say that? I was going to say every time I have a pain in my foot, I'm concerned that it's fucking too much sugar intake and that I'm going to have diabetes and then I'm going to lose my foot. And I don't remember why I'm talking about this. Oh, because of honey. But yeah, then you get this stuff. Dude, it's like water. So you get that generic honey and it's like water. Why is that? It literally says like they both have grade A on it. So why is it that you can get a honey that's grade A and one's organic, or one's grade A and local, and then one's grade A and generic? and there are three completely different products. Why is that? Like, clearly making the cheap ass decision is not the way to go. Like, obviously either the organic or the local honey, which they say you're supposed to eat local, but then it's like, where did my ancestors live? Like, I mean, Europe? How much honey did they have in Europe? What was the honey like? You know what I mean? Like, people say you're supposed to eat local, but then they're like, doesn't local mean like for your ancestry? Because they can't mean like where you're at now, right? Because like my mom's lived in Nevada, Turkey, Colorado, Iowa. You know what I mean? Like, how can we say that the local place that I'm supposed to get my honey, isn't it one of those places? Or is it where I live right now? I don't know. So point being, I know that the answer is either get the organic honey or get the local honey, but I just don't understand how a generic honey can get a grade A rating if it's literally like so watered down. But obviously that's why you get twice as much. Yeah, you get. I'm not gonna look it up. I want to look it up now. Now I got Google open, and I'm like, I should just go crazy. We should just find out why. Why is it so easy to get a grade A rating on honey? Should I type it in? I shouldn't type it in. It's a bad idea, right? You guys don't care. Nobody cares. Why is it so easy to get a grade A rating on honey? Nothing. They don't have anything that mean. Grade A. U.S. grade A is the highest quality of extracted honey, and it's judged to have the best. See, that's what I mean. This is exactly what I'm saying. That doesn't make sense. Should I keep reading? I should probably keep reading. I should probably not establish my entire value of knowledge on honey based on the first sentence that I read from my first Google search. Do you think? Do you think maybe I should put a little bit more into it? Maybe I should just to check a little bit more. It says U.S. grade A is the highest quality of extracted honey, and it's judged to have the best flavor and clarity. See its requirements in the Table 4 or Table 5 below, with a minimum total score of 90 points. U.S. grade B is the second best quality of honey, with a minimum total score of 80 points. But that's what I'm saying. You can have multiple, well, I guess it's just like, if the minimum score is 90, the organic and local honey might be like 99 or 100, and then this one might be like 90, but it's a clear difference. It's a very, very obvious and very clear difference. Oh, so it's based on like the solubleness, the absence of defects, flavor and aroma. Gotcha. Okay, very cool. I didn't know that. I don't know. I just think it's crazy because I don't think they're selling a lot of grade B and grade C honey, or at least I don't seem to see it in a lot of places. It seems like everything's called grade A, but it's not all grade A. You know what? Another thing? Dude, salads are a fucking scam. Salads are a total scam. I don't buy that shit. I do buy them. I had one recently. That's what made me think of this. There was a time when my son's mom bought me some groceries, and she bought me these salad kits, which like I don't eat, but like back in the day, I used to eat a lot of salads. And dude, I just had this period of time where like I ate way too much spinach one night, and then I barfed. And so like the amount of spinach that I barfed up, I'm like, I just can't eat spinach anymore. And I probably said that before, but I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, so like she got me these salad kits, right? And like otherwise I wouldn't eat salads, and they're really good. Like I got one recently. I got like a Caesar romaine kit, but like there's no way I'm kidding myself. Like there's no way that I'm lying to myself and telling myself that's a healthy thing. It's not healthy. The amount of like the dressing alone, unless you're having like some sort of vinegar or something like that, or even, I mean, I don't know how you, I shouldn't look it up. Should I? I was going to say, I don't know exactly how you make a vinaigrette, but my guess is it might even have something sweet in it. But my point in saying that is like these dressings and things clearly have like, they're sugary, or they're clearly not that good for you. And then the amount of croutons or like toppings or other things that you're putting on there, by the end of the day, the amount of shit that you've eaten compared to the few shards of lettuce that you've enjoyed, or whatever, carrot sticks, what is it, jubilee, it's when you cut fucking long ways on carrots. What is that called? Cutting long ways. Isn't it with a J? Oh, I wish I wasn't. I feel like such a moron. Isn't it like, oh darn it, That's such a silly thing to say. When you cut, when it comes to me, I'm gonna feel like a fucking moron. Jew something. When you cut stuff long ways, it's a J word. Cutting stuff long ways, it's a J word, like vegetables and stuff. I need to just not do this right now. Oh, I wish I could remember. It doesn't matter. Don't even know why I'm talking about it anyway. Don't even know what I'm talking about. Don't even know why I'm talking about that. No idea. No idea. Why are we talking about cutting long ways on stuff? Dude, you know what I can't believe? I know it's been a while. Because obviously, like I said, I record on Friday and release this on Wednesday. I still can't believe Bob Saget died. I can't believe that. I know it's crazy, and I know I have no right to make a dude, I watched Full House way too much as a kid. I had a crush on every single one of those girls at one different time or another in my life. I literally remember as a child watching that way too much. I remember relating to Danny like I couldn't relate to anybody else. I know that sounds so stupid. The only other time that I probably felt like I could relate to a character similarly would be like that guy in Cat in the Hat. Wasn't it Cat in the Hat? Yeah, the kid's mom works for a guy that like uses way too much hand sanitizer, and like not necessarily that part, but just where she's like, if my house is out of order for even an inkling, he's gonna fire me. And I wouldn't fire anybody for their house being out of order, but I just related to the fact that that guy keeps his house really in order. But in the same way, growing up watching Full House that I watched way too much, had a crush on DJ to begin with, related to Danny Tanner in the sense that he like cleaned everything, and it was like, well, it's just like, oh my God, there's other people out there, and later you realize, okay, that's a character. And I guess that's why I'm thinking about Bob Saget. But, it's just one of those things that like I related so much to that character of Danny Tanner and the fact that he cleaned stuff and he was very OCD. And again, then like you're growing up a little bit later, and I had a crush on Stephanie was her name of the show. I don't know her real name. I think it was like, I don't even want to say, I think it was like Candace or something like that. But, and then of course later when I realized Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen were just actually a few years older than me. Oh my gosh, yeah, when I was a teenager, I remember I think when I was 13, they came out with the movie New York Minute, and I was like hooked on them. But anyway, watched that show way too much. Can't believe that guy's dead. I can't believe he was only 60. It just makes you think, dude, I had there was this fire truck and ambulance, and it just sat outside my house the other day for like so long, and for some reason it just made me think like that's it, man. That's the end for all of us. That's all it is. Like somebody went away in that thing, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like now their family, and I guess it depends on what you believe. It depends on what you think about afterlife and all that other kind of stuff. If you have some sort of other idea, but it's just crazy to think how quickly that comes for all of us, and how quickly all the things that you've done and everything that you've created can all of a sudden just be a slam shut door on the back of an ambulance, and just a bunch of people looking out their windows wondering why a fire truck is sitting outside for 3 hours in front of their house. Like, I know that's a grim way to look at it, but it's just like I don't know, there's this chart, and I probably can't remember what it is, and I probably shouldn't even try to look it up, but it's basically a chart that shows you your entire life, and you almost don't realize, that's saying that you live till you're 100. That's saying that you live till you're 90 years old. You almost don't realize how far along that chart you really are. And I honestly, I learned that from Sam Harris, and I learned that from the Waking Up app. And I know I mentioned that last week, and I lost my shit, and I was embarrassed about that. And I even considered not releasing that, but it is what it is. That's real. It is what it is. The only reason I brought it up is because I was going to say I couldn't believe how much emotion it brought me. But then when I brought it up, it just completely reignited the emotion. I just, nobody cares, but if I could ever recommend anything to anybody, I would say try the Waking Up app. I would say give it a shot. It's worth every amount of money that I ever spent on it. Like, I mean, I haven't been able to buy the lifelong subscription thing, which they offer. They have this thing where they say, like, you can be a lifelong member, and I haven't been able to invest in that. But they're, only for a matter of budget, not necessarily for a matter of interest, or of whether or not, which is then you're like, well, then you're making the least it's like buying in bulk. I'm not going to go there, but you know what I mean? It's like if you know you're going to keep buying the same product over and over again, you just need to buy it in bulk. That makes the most sense. Like, and some people say bulk's not the same, and some people say that it's not. I don't know. I just can't do it. It's like if I know I'm going to buy Dove shampoo every week, if every week I'm going to buy Dove shampoo, I just buy 4 Dove shampoos. It just makes the most sense to me. I don't know. So point being, I'd probably be wise just to go ahead and purchase it. But I don't know. No idea how I got off on that. No clue whatsoever. But yep, just think salads are a scam. I don't remember how I got there. I know that was like one of the last things I said, but they totally are. It's not even it's crazy. It's like you're at the end of the day, the amount of nutrition that you probably get from that is probably not equal to, but if anything, you're being generous, I think, to say that it's equal to the amount of damage that you're doing with the dressing and the croutons and all that. And I don't know, man. It's just like, it seems like it's become hard to eat well, to eat healthy, but I don't know. I can't eat one of those salad kits and feel good about myself. Like, I know as that dressing slopping all over my face and I have Caesar just coated all over my cheeks that I'm not a good person. I know as I'm wiping that away from my face that there's nothing good that I'm doing, that I'd probably just be better off eating some sort of burrito. I don't know. I guess it depends on what's in the burrito, right? But I don't know. I have plenty more things to talk about, but I'm going to save that for next week. And I can't wait to chat with you guys then. And if you do me a favor and you just decide to subscribe, that would help a great deal. So go down to the bottom corner and hit the subscribe button. And yeah, otherwise, I guess, I've been elected chairman of the board and you owe me $50. No, I'm just kidding. I guess more like I'd be second place in a beauty contest, right? You'd be like, I'll give you $10. You get $10 for the second place in a beauty contest. But if you don't want to pay me that, you could just go ahead and subscribe. No, I know that was stupid. I tried to call back the Monopoly thing, but I don't really like it. I don't feel good about it. I'd cut it out, but it is what it is. Sometimes I say dumb stuff. I say dumb stuff all the time, actually. You probably know that if you tuned in. So thanks. But I look forward to chatting with you guys again soon. And please hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Help me out. Let's move forward here. Just help me keep making this show every week. That sounds desperate. I don't like it. It's gross. It's icky, right? It feels icky. That's the reason I've never asked. I don't like it. I don't like mentioning it. I think it just sounds gross. Maybe I'll find a better way to do it. I guess it's like the first time you try to hit on a girl, right? Like the first time, even after you try to reintroduce yourself to the wild, like for instance, after I was in the, relationship with my son's mother for the longest time, it's not pretty the first time. So I guess that's it. I guess I've never mentioned it before because I don't want to. I think it's gross. It just sounds gross. But then like I listen to these kids that my son watches, the ones that are extremely successful, these Minecraft kids that get 45 million views in 24 hours. And they got text flying through their videos. They ask constantly. They say silly stuff like, if you don't do this, or if you don't like the video, this is going to happen. Or you know what I mean? Like they mention it, they write about it, they talk about it, they yell about it. They do it so often, so shamelessly. And I'm just like, these guys, I can't even imagine 45 million views in 24 hours. I can't even imagine that. That's insane. So the fact that they're doing it, I'm like, I guess it's the thing. I guess it's what you're supposed to do. It's what helps the algorithm. It's what helps it moves along. But I don't like it. I've never liked it. It sounds gross. Feels gross. I don't like doing it. But like I said, I guess that's kind of the first times that you kind of try to, hit on a girl. It doesn't sound pretty. It doesn't come out well. The results are not good. So I guess you learn. You fuck up. You do it wrong over and over again. And then eventually, yeah, everything I can think to say is something I shouldn't say, so I'm not going to, and I'm going to leave you guys with that. But take care. Till next time.